An influential legal scholar is warning the government not to repeat the mistakes of the past by legislating to control rongoā Māori. As it stands, passages of the new government's new Therapeutic Products Bill would see rongoā Māori regulated by a government bureaucrat at the Ministry of Health. Emeritus Professor of Law at the University of Auckland, Dr Jane Kelsey, says this has echoes of the 1907 Tohunga Suppression Act, which outlawed rongoā for half a century up until 1962. Dr Jane Kelsey is with us now. Tēnā koe, Dr Kelsey. Thanks for joining us.
No, kia ora. Nice to talk to you now.
And you too. Look, this is interesting for all of us, obviously. What's the latest with this bill, and what do you think its purpose is?
Well, the latest is really hard to find out. What is the purpose of it? Well, again, that's a bit hard to find out, having been trawled through all the policy documents. The bill itself says that it's aiming to make sure that people who use therapeutic products, which are medicines, medical devices, natural health remedies, have access to safe and quality care. But it's very much framed around a Western science model of what are the ingredients and does the person have the right tertiary qualifications and what is the kind of risk assessment that is being done, which runs roughshod over rangatiratanga in relation to rongoā Māori, the whole centuries, millennia of Māori being able to answer those questions in relation to rongoā. So what's going on with it? Why is rongoā in this bill? Very hard to find out. There's been flip-flop about whether it should be in or shouldn't be in. And currently it's in. Hopefully it's going to come out. There's been a real groundswell.
This is a little bit confusing for me. You're the expert in this area and likely more expertise than those making these decisions, and yet you're struggling to find out what the real situation is and real purpose. Why do you feel the government has not listened to its people, particularly Māori Health Authority, which says rongoā should not be included?
Why have they not listened? There's a couple of reasons that I think may be behind it. One is it could be just part of this general political cowardice that we're seeing now in relation to so many things Māori. Initially, the bill, when it went out for discussion, did not include rongoā. Subsequently, there were proposals that rongoā be covered. Then Te Aka Whaiora and Te Puni Kōkiri both said it shouldn't be in there and there should be a strong treaty provision in there. We don't know what the Ministry of Health said, but we think they said something similar. And then the bill has now got rongoā as part of this regulatory regime that completely sidelines Māori. So what is going on is really hard to tell, especially because the most important document that was the advice from Te Aka Whaiora and the Ministry of Health has been withheld under the Official Information Act. So they're trying to hide something.
Well, I'm not sure how we are supposed to understand this if someone like you, who's such a professional and expert in this area, can't find the answers. What are we supposed to do?
Well, I think asking these questions. And the most important questions, I think, have come from the rongoā Māori community themselves. So there's been a petition of around 12,000 saying pull out rongoā, recognise that it's subject to rangatiratanga and kaitiakitanga as a taonga under Te Tiriti. There was a resolution passed at Waitangi this year on Te Tii Marae to that effect. There's been about 16,000 submissions on this bill, and a very large number of those have been saying take rongoā Māori out of this bill and provide protections for Te Tiriti for other aspects that might affect it. And so there have been really powerful voices, but people need to keep the pressure on. Pressure on Māori MPs, pressure on ministers, pressure on the Select Committee, and hopefully they'll see sense.
Look, Dr Kelsey, if we give Health New Zealand the benefit of the doubt, we could suggest that perhaps they're concerned about herbals or therapeutics that could cause harm, perhaps due to some people thinking they are rongoā practitioners, but they're really not. Do you feel this is a valid proposition or reason?
Well, if you listen to the rongoā practitioners, they say they can easily tell who is or isn't.
Right.
Give the power to Māori to monitor who might be charlatans. You know, as all your listeners know, rongoā is not about, you know, what are the ingredients, what are the qualifications, the practitioners from tertiary institutions and so on. It's what is this holistic form of healing that is governed and regulated by tikanga, that is the responsibility and not just the power, but the responsibility of those who are practitioners. And this has been on the agenda since Y262. Ko Aotearoa Tēnei had a whole chapter 7, about the need to address rongoā Māori as a Treaty of Waitangi issue. And now we're going full circle again, and the same treaty breaches are happening, and they seem to have deaf ears.
So, as we've spoken to previously, you've made a proposal to take rongoā out of this proposed bill. What are your expectations from here? Are you confident that your professional expertise will be heard?
Well, I mean, I'm just one little squeaky voice in this process. I hope that the voices of rongoā Māori practitioners and of Māori will be heard. I was asked by the chair of the select committee at the end of my 5-minute submission to draft provisions that might achieve this, which I've done, but then they've gone into a deep, dark hole again. And so we have no idea what is happening inside government in trying to clean up the mess that they've made with this legislation. Hopefully they'll see sense, because otherwise I have very strong sense it will end up back before the Waitangi Tribunal, and no government really wants to go there at present, certainly not on something where it's already been found to have been in breach in the Y262 claim.
Look, some things just don't make sense. This is one of them, clearly. Emeritus Professor of Law at the University of Auckland, Dr Jane Kelsey. Thank you so much for joining us today, for some of your insights, and we appreciate that you're keeping an eye on this for the rest of us. Ngā mihi.
Kia ora.